Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a good one so far and staying cool out there. It's been kinda nuts around here lately. Getting a little bit spicy outside. The other day I was looking through Reddit, the JRPG subreddit, and somebody was talking about what are some like headlines or some RPG news that you wish was true. And I liked the idea, so I'm gonna steal it. So shout out to the JRPG subreddit. I've spent a few days just kind of thinking on this subject, thinking of like, what are some things that are potentially possible, but what are some things that are actually like good enough to dream about actually being a reality? And it's kind of tough because it's like sometimes you don't really know what you really want. Like it'd be really awesome if there was like a new series, but I don't know what I would ask for in a new series, but I want it to be good. So here's some more specific news items that I think would be really rad though. Starting with a Breath of Fire 1 through 4 HD collection. Maybe Breath of Fire 5 too, if some of you guys out there like that one, but Breath of Fire 1 through 4 at least. And it would be super awesome to be Shadow-Dropped alongside an announcement they would be working on Breath of Fire 7. Breath of Fire is a game series that is near and dear to my heart. It is one of the very first RPG series that I really got into. It always had this incredible pixel art, isometric art styles to it that just stuck with me throughout the years, and it remains, Breath of Fire 4 in particular, the pinnacle of RPG pixel art. Breath of Fire 4 is some of the best, but the battle system in 3 was the best, I think. That's just the first headline that I wish was true. But this next set of news headlines that I wish was true comes from Square Enix, starting with Square Enix saying that they're going to start dipping back in for their next Final Fantasy title, dipping back into the style of like Final Fantasy IX, medieval and turn-based RPG goodness. Also, they're going to be working in corroboration with Sakaguchi and Mistwalker Entertainment in order to make this a reality. I don't think that there's any real snowflakes chance in hell that would ever happen, and that's exactly why this is a headline that I wish was true. While we're talking about Square Enix, they happen to own the games that were released by Quintet, therefore a Terranigma HD Remaster, like an HD 2D style remaster. Terranigma is my favorite action RPG on the SNES, and it is so beautiful. It is as beautiful as Chrono Trigger, except it's an action RPG instead of a turn-based RPG. Sadly, there's not really any way to play it officially here in the United States. And even in the PAL territories where it did come out in English and other languages, it's super rare. So sadly, we just need a way to properly play it, and I can't think of any better way than them putting in some effort into making an HD 2D version of the game. Speaking of HD 2D, Dragon Quest III, I wish that this was coming out this holiday season. Because we just haven't heard really much about it since it was announced. No release date, anything. This one's probably a little bit closer to the realm of reality. It would just be nice to hear some sign of life from this game as we continue to wait with bated breath for more information on it. And finally from Square Enix, Dragon Quest XII is coming, and it is going to be a turn-based RPG, the same as what we've always loved in this series. I feel like this is somewhat realistic, but Square Enix has also been talking about this game a little bit, like they're thinking about changing some things, and I'm good with them doing with Final Fantasy, but Dragon Quest, man, that's a series that is built on traditions. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the more that Square Enix changes Final Fantasy, the more Dragon Quest needs to stay the same. And I'm just hoping that that stays true. It's been the pattern so far. I just feel a little uneasy lately. So this is my wish, is that they would announce that this is going to be just another Dragon Quest like all of the other ones that I can continue to enjoy as much as all of the other ones. Moving away from Square Enix, let's talk about Konami. And they are announcing the successful launch of Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remaster. The headline is that it sold super well and everybody's really into the games, and they're going to start working on Suikoden 6 in corroboration with Rabit and Bear Studios, who a lot of you guys might know as the ones who are working on Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. And the reason that's super important is because the team, Rabit and Bear, is comprised of the people who founded and worked on all of the good Suikoden games that we remember. So I just want them back involved. You can probably see this pattern again. I like the creators to be involved in the games that they're making again. Moving along, I wanted to talk about the Dream Nintendo Direct. Some more headlines that I wish was real coming from this Nintendo Direct includes a Super Nintendo Switch that has been revealed and is fully backwards compatible with the current generation of Switch. It plays all current Switch games at 1080p 60 or 4K 30 natively. I wanted to reel this one in a little bit because I really don't expect Nintendo to release a 4K 60 console anytime soon, but I think that this is a pretty good middle ground. And why is that on this list of RPG news? It's because I want the Switch to play a little bit better, and it has a lot of good games on it that I'd like to play. Anyways, alongside this Nintendo Direct, they also bring out my dearest Shigestato Itoi to announce that he has begun work on Mother 4, and that it will be released on the Nintendo Switch, the Super Nintendo Switch, and done in the style of the new Link's Awakening remake, sort of that clay style, that clay figure style that they used for a lot of the concept art for a lot of the earlier Mother games. Well, now the whole game is kind of have a little bit more of that aesthetic to it, and it's gonna look awesome. Really looking forward to seeing that Shigestato Itoi. But in the same Nintendo Direct, while we wait, we also got news of a shadow drop of the Oddity RPG, which has been silent for a long time. It was once called the Mother 4 Fan Project, and there was a little sign of life, but it has been so long. They rebranded to Oddity RPG, and it looks so nice, the trailer that they put together. But man, I just haven't heard anything from them for the longest time, and I really want to see them just put the game out there. I'm hoping that what's going to happen with that game is that they're just going to release it one day and just say, there, it's done. Because I think if I was the team that was involved in this, it's kind of notorious for having given dates, then just having them pass years and years later. I would just release the game, no more mention of dates, no dates, it just releases, and that's how I would prefer them to do this, and release it on the Nintendo Switch would be super rad. But hey, it's just a wish, and these are the headlines that I wish were real. But while we're in Fantasyland, hanging out, having fun, I want to hear some of your fantasy news. What is your dream headline right now? What is a headline that would just make you lose your mind? What would really get you hyped? What is the one piece of RPG news that you've been waiting for to happen for years and years, and it would just make your entire year? I just provided a pretty long list of some of my tall orders and hopefully not so tall orders. Some of them could be true, but what will it be? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everyone.